Good afternoon, virtual families. It is Mr. Mead, and it is Friday, and this will be a super short update for the week. It's been a great week, lots of work getting done. You probably saw my remind message go out. We've actually got 4 students right now who've completely finished first quarter. They are done, and the system is now giving them extra work to make them even smarter than they already are, which is really exciting for me to see. I'm super proud of them, and many of you are actually really close to finishing early. Don't forget, you won't run out of work if you finish early, because the intervention piece will actually start assigning work to either plug gaps in your child's learning or push them even higher with their academic achievement. But the big news is actually going to be starting next week. Wednesday of next week is the beginning of what we in the virtual world call Count Month. It's not my favorite month, because it can be stressful sometimes, but I'm optimistic because everyone has been so good at communicating with me, and I really appreciate that. So if you haven't seen my other videos, the way the Count Month works is that starting on Wednesday of next week, I will have 7 days to make two-way communications. Actually, I shouldn't just say me. We need to make two-way communications with each other by the following Tuesday, and we do that 4 times. So the week goes from Wednesday to Tuesday. And during that time period, it can be a text message, it can be on Remind, it can be a FaceTime, it can be a phone call. You could actually use carrier pigeons. That would count if that's what we had to do. But it has to be two-way. So it's not enough that I text you and say, hey, here's how the kids are doing. You have to then text me back and say, understood, we're working on it, thanks for the heads up, some kind of response for it to count as a two-way communication. And then I have to document that in PowerSchool, and then our auditor at the end of Count Month will ensure that I've done my job with the virtual kids. And the reason why the state puts such a big emphasis on this is because, and I can speak from personal experience and professional experience, there is no substitute for communication. In the early days of virtual schools would hand the student a laptop, give them a link and a username and a password, say, okay, good luck, and then the student would go off and hopefully do something. That didn't work very well for very many kids. And so communication is what it's all about, is maintaining just constant communication. Your teacher is there, present, part of your life, checking in on you to make sure everything's going okay, and also helping you to solve problems. And so the state, that's their expectation, twice a week, documented two-way. I think I've mentioned this before, but if I fail at getting two-way communications for even one of those weeks, then the state can and will withhold funding for that student. And so, you look at the fact that we've got about 45 kids enrolled. That's a lot of students, and the program's expensive. I'm fairly expensive in the scheme of things to hire a human being to manage all of this. And so we do need to make sure that we're getting our full pupil funding. If I miss one, if I forget to call you, please call me. Don't hesitate. It doesn't have to be me initiating it, although I often do. You can also call me and say, hey, Mr. Mead, haven't heard from you, just checking in, things are going okay. I can then respond. That also counts as a two-way. If I do that, just because I know that people are going to ask me, so the dollar figure, if I miss a two-way communication, even one of them, is about $7,000. It's almost the full, they call it an FTE, full-time equivalent, for the school, for the student, for the school year, is what that can do. So, I hate talking about money. I didn't go into education to talk about money, but it is part of what we do, is to make sure that we have the money to pay for the school. And so that's why. So really appreciate it. So far, we've been doing a phenomenal job of making sure that communication happens. If you get questions about this, like I said, call me. Be happy to talk to you about it some more. But otherwise, I'll be planning on checking in with all my students. I'll be in McBain Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. This was the first week I actually worked Thursday, Friday from my house. That seems to be working okay, but the most important thing is that that kids are getting what they need. And so, we'll continue to monitor that, and I'll continue to be in both places throughout the week. Thanks so much, McBain. We will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful weekend.